Thank the member for Lilley. The question is that the motion be agreed to, and I call the member for Murray.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. And I suppose it's a very similar pattern that we see in this chamber. Firstly, we have a Labor member standing up accusing the National Party of pork barrelling. We're quite happy to have the Labor Party talking about Nationals members' pork barrelling projects in our regions. We know it's not the case, but we do like being accused just the same. I suppose it's also par for the course when we have the former Treasurer stand up saying that we need to borrow more, we need to increase national debt if we're going to work our way out of this low economic growth. The best way is to just borrow more money and spend more money. So, well, he was a Treasurer, and I think he's in that sphere. The Nationals understand that it simply costs more to deliver projects and it costs more to deliver services in the region than what it does in our major regional cities or capital cities. And unless we are prepared to make these additional investments into our communities, then we're always going to have people in regional areas and country regions and remote who are going to have less services and are going to live a lesser standard of living because they don't have a government that understands their way of thinking. And that's why the National Party, that's why projects like the Building Better Regions, that's why the National Stronger Regions Fund is so important, so critical to increase the investment from government in areas such as communications. We understand that in the 6 years that Labor were in government under the Rudd-Gillard-Rudd years, not one government in co-investment in communication black spot towers was made. And we have a whole raft of communities around Australia who cannot engage in what they would call normal communications. They can't conduct their business and they cannot conduct their normal socio phone calls within anywhere around Australia simply because a Labor Party has no understanding about the need for co-investment. In a similar line with energy costs are currently in many of the states are going through the roof, but we have ideological governments at state level that simply are aiming for a reduction in gas and shutting down coal, simply leading to an increased cost of energy costs around regional Australia. And this is having a huge impact, again, on the cost of energy and on jobs around the world, around Australia. I just think it's also worth thinking about some of the projects in my region and just outside my region that have been funded through the National Stronger Regions Fund. And certainly the first one that comes to mind is Warramunda Aged Care in Kyabram. Warramunda were able to receive a fraction under $1 million as part of round 3 for the National Stronger Regions Fund, and primarily this investment is going to assist with an $8 to $9 million investment in a dementia ward, something that is becoming more and more prevalent around our aged care facilities as the members that are coming into our aged care facilities are getting older, and therefore increasing the percentage of those residents who are suffering from dementia.
Bendigo Tennis.
On nearby electorates, we had a $2.4 million investment in a Bendigo Tennis proposal, and that is a project that has been waiting for some 4 to 5 years for the funding. And again, the local knowledge from the politicians in that area, we're able to make a good case as to why that project should get up. The Shepparton Art Museum has received $10 million from Senator Nash in relation to a $40 million build in relation to what will be a world-class art museum for a place like Shepparton, which is desperate to bridge that cultural gap that it currently hasn't quite been able to reach into these areas. We're also hoping, now that we're moving to Building Better Regions, that La Trobe University hoping to do an expansion in Shepparton, looking for some assistance there. They're very eager to look into the application stage of the Building Better Regions, and if they're able to do that, certainly a contribution there will assist in them growing even more nursing courses for the region of the Goulburn Valley. The Building Better Regions Fund is now going to offer a greater opportunity, because not just is it going to be for bricks and mortar, but opportunities to do with leadership, to do community capacity building, to work in areas other than just building. I think it's going to be a fantastic program. I hope everybody gets behind it, and I want to commend the Deputy Leader of the Nationals, Fiona Nash, for running this
The
program.
member's time has expired. I thank